Well, I grew up in a very religious home. Went to church every day before school and confession and on and on. Was very religious, but had no idea that I could have a personal relationship with Jesus. Tried to live a good life, tried to earn my way to heaven, till I later found out that you can't do that. Bible says no one is good enough to earn their way there by themselves. And I remember winning my first master's, and I had everything. I just got married to a beautiful young lady. I had money, I had cars, I had houses. I was #1 in the world rankings. Anything and everything a 27-year-old man could literally dream of. I pretty much had it. But I felt empty, totally empty. I had this void inside myself, and I couldn't pinpoint what it was. And, till I got invited to the Bible study 3 days later and heard that I had to be born again. I'm going, born again? What is that? Can't be born again. I'm 27 years old. So anyways, Larry explained all that to me and bought my own Bible and went back to the Bible studies and asked questions, studied it, and then it became very clear that that's missing. And the day I gave my life over to Jesus is the day that emptiness left me, and it's been 40 years and it hasn't returned, and I know it will not return. That's a small tidbit of my spiritual journey. There's a lot more to it.
Yeah. Since you brought up that term, Bernhard, of being born again, let me just say it's the only time Jesus ever used it, and he used it with a religious man, a man who thought he was keeping the law perfectly. And Jesus told him you have to have a physical birth, but the born again is a spiritual birth. The one is just like first thing Bernhard asked me after we were in John 3, we were working our way through the Gospel of John in the Bible study. He says, does it say born again in all the Bibles? I said, well, go to your hotel room, pull the drawer out, get your Gideon Bible, and look. It says it in all of them. But he didn't understand the term as fully. He says, my mom, she's 5'2", 5'3", I'm 5'9". How do you get born again? I said, well, it's not talking about another physical birth. It's talking about a spiritual birth. When he's talking to the Samaritan woman, a few days later, he talks about drinking from the living water from which you will never have thirst, which is exactly what you said happened to you, that emptiness you were trying to fill with money and possessions and all of that. And it was still there, that emptiness. That emptiness disappeared when it was the Lord himself that filled that emptiness, and you've not. And I've heard Bernhard, and I'll tell you, you all do not know him. I have known him for 40 years. We've skied all over the world together, and he is a scratch skier, let me tell you. But I can tell you this, that he is not lying. I have watched this man live through missing a putt at the War by the Shore at Kiowa Island. I called him in Germany 2 days after he lost the Ryder Cup from a 6-foot putt that had a spike mark that he had to go around, which was part of the reason he missed it. And I said, Bernhard, how are you doing? He said, well, yesterday it was pretty rough. He says, but I realized there's only been one perfect man, and they crucified him. He says, I think I'm going to be okay.